Welcome back. This is RT International. The Bureau of Investigative Journalism has revealed that during the Iraq War, the Pentagon paid more than $500 million to a British firm to spread artificial al-Qaeda videos. And it's part of what's believed to be one of the most costly PR contracts in history. Some of the videos show the aftermath of terrorist bombings. They were deliberately filmed in low quality to replicate local news footage. The footage was then edited by a man hired by the company who worked inside a highly secure U.S. military and intelligence HQ in Camp Victory in Baghdad. Washington was attempting to portray al-Qaeda in a negative light. However, some say the propaganda videos could have actually played into the hands of the terrorists. RT's Anastasia Turkino looks into the story for us.
All is fair in love and war. Or is it? A secret Iraq propaganda campaign masterminded by Washington and carried out by a British PR firm is exposed by the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. PR company Bell Pottinger has quite a portfolio. Among its clients, the Saudi government and the Pinochet Foundation. Among its campaigns, Thatcher's Iron Lady image and 3 successful Tory elections.
I just assumed it was news gathering. But having seen the process and worked in the process, I then realised this was a big project. And the budget was large as well for this project. It was around about 120 million a year for this project. And that's a lot of money.
In the first media interview to shed light on the operation, a former video editor for the controversial scheme tells a story that Hollywood might dream of. On a Friday, he's interviewed at a well-guarded location in central London. By Monday, he's swept away to Baghdad to work in a news operation with a twist.
It was a very secure building. Signs outside saying, do not come in. If you're not, it's a classified area. If you're not cleared, you can't come in. So when I first started working on it, I didn't know how big a project this was.
Martin Wells disclosed several types of faked clips that he had been asked to work on. The so-called grey and black ops included anti-Al-Qaeda TV commercials and TV news stories made to look like they were made by Arabic TV. The most controversial were the fake Al-Qaeda propaganda films.
I was asked by my boss, we need to make this style of video and we've got to use Al-Qaeda's footage and all their propaganda out there to do it.
The videos reportedly ended up in places like Iran, Syria, and even the US, according to the video editor. This would allow the Pentagon to trace the location of where in the world these cooked-up clips were of interest.
All the VCDs that were made, and quite a considerable amount, were taken by Marines when they were going into various villages or they were doing raids. Whatever patrols they were on, and they were dispersed that way. When we made something, the process would be, I would show it to my producer, they'd be happy with it. We would then get in the seniors in the office, they'd be happy with it. Then we get the 2 colonels in to look at it, look at the things we'd done throughout the day. They'd be fine with it. It would then go to General Petraeus. He would then look at it and his team would look at it. And if they're happy with it, it would then go on up the line if it needed to. If he couldn't sign off on it, it would go up on the line to the White House, and then it was signed off up there, and the answer would come back down the line.
Bell Pottinger's management changed years ago, and the unit that operated in Iraq is reportedly no longer around since the official departure of U.S. troops in 2011. The real scope of consequences of such a propaganda theater unraveling is hard to identify, even more so whether such practices are still stirring up the pot in other conflict-ridden areas today. Anastasia Turkino, RT, London.
And Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May has vowed to protect UK troops from what she calls a legal witch hunt by pushing to opt out of the European Convention on Human Rights. RT's Isa Ali explains.
British Prime Minister, along with the Defence Minister Michael Fallon, making an announcement. And you ask why they're so against the European Court of Human Rights. Well, they claim that it's been too easy for claims to be brought against UK soldiers for abuses or alleged abuses which they've carried out in war zones. She's described them as being vexatious claims, claims which cause much distress to the soldiers. And cost hundreds of millions of pounds potentially to the Ministry of Defence budget, which they say could be spent elsewhere. And Theresa May in particular has never really been much of a fan of the European human rights conventions.
I'm not the biggest fan of the European Convention on Human Rights in terms of our troops, is a specific example of where that convention is being used, I think, and being ill-used by the lawyers who are chasing after claims to try to bring those claims against our troops. This is about the government saying to our troops, you have our backing, we're on your side, we're behind you in what you do.
But what exactly are some of the cases which we've seen in the past? We have seen examples of British soldiers beating up Iraqi children, particularly in Basra, where the UK Army were based from 2003 until 2009, when they withdrew from the Middle Eastern country. Of course, we also heard of the case of Baha Musa, another man who lived in Basra. He was a hotel worker who was killed by British troops, and in fact one British soldier ended up pleading guilty to the inhumane treatment of a prisoner. And the Swede case, which saw dozens upon dozens of Iraqis bringing charges against British soldiers and seeking compensation. However, the cases were dismissed in the British courts, and that's what sparked this backlash against European human rights laws and other human rights laws, with the government stating that cases like al-Swede were an example of how easy it was to bring claims, and that they wanted to bring these protections into line to protect soldiers in the future.
An award-winning British comedian who featured on a BBC radio show has lost his job after 18 years of service. In a tweet, John Holmes claimed he was fired for being a white male and that his bosses told him they, quote, want to recast with more women and diversity. John Holmes has received recognition for his work both as a writer and radio broadcaster. He's known to Radio 4 listeners nationwide for his role on the UK program called The Now Show. The broadcaster's official response to the dismissal was that they hire presenters on merit, and Holmes was let go because it was time to give new talent a chance. In April, the BBC promised to make its workforce more diverse by the year 2020. We got some contrasting reactions to the story from a race relations activist and a talk show host.
We have opportunity. We have opportunity to get rejected. You said, you know, oh, it's a shame that somebody.
You don't just.
Well, you do have to have that. You do have
suddenly saying we're going to take a white. We're going to sack you because you're white.
Nobody knows that's how it's been done.
We're sacking
nobody.
You
Nobody.
Because you're white.
Nobody.
You're white.
He's been
and
sacked.
we want more
Look,
diversity. How does that help?
It's despicable.
How does that help black or ethnic people?
It's despicable that he should play the race card because he hasn't got his contract reviewed.
He's a well-recognised comedian.
English tradition.
What you should be fighting for,
great English
Mr.
tradition.
Jasper,
There's a great English tradition.
Fighting for, Mr.
It's
Jasper,
a great English tradition. I speak,
for black
then you listen, then you speak.
If you'd be quiet for a moment, I'd make my point.
I'm trying to talk while you're talking over me, John.
I think we've got.
You haven't got a point,
really,
because white men get jobs based on their skin colour.
Lee, please, let John say something. John, go ahead, just for 30 seconds.
I can't hear anything. It's crazy in my earphones.
Mr. Jasper, here's the fascist.
Yes, sir.
The fascist is speaking. Right.
Oh, you're speaking.
What we need to create is what we need to do.
John, I'm listening.
You are so pathetic.
He's gone
what
dead.
We're trying
He's
to do
dead air
we're
on
trying
TV.
To create a situation. We should have a meritocracy whereby there should be opportunity for people of all colours, all sexes and all gender to work on our national state broadcaster. We don't achieve that, though, by sacking somebody because they're white.
He hasn't been sacked.
That is as bad, and I would suggest...
He hasn't been sacked because he's white.
As racist...
You keep making a premise.
Saying,
he has not had his contract renewed.
Shouting.
Because he wasn't. He wasn't, because you're factually incorrect. I think that it's white men like John who are part of the problem for diversity in the BBC. Because the reality is that the BBC has adopted change policies, exactly what he's called for. And it does require them to look at each particular vacancy with a view to seeing if there is more diversity to be had.
Watching the Hawks is coming up next on our International, discussing the U.S. role in Iraq.